Guys, this is what I'm doing this blessed Thursday morning, making some bread for Joe because he's pretty spoiled. Who spoiled him, you ask? Me. So I'm doing Creole breads, not Creole bun. And how does that differ? Well, for the bun you put more sugar than the bread, and you put the vanilla extract and the cinnamon and some raisins and stuff if you want to put that. I never put the raisins because the kids don't like the raisins in it. But once these kids leave, I'll put raisins in my bread. But anywho, this one, for the bun you put a cup and a 1 3/4 cup of sugar to the flour. The flour is 9 3/4 cups, almost 10 cups. And for the bread, you only put 3/4 cup of sugar. So it's way less sugar, but it's still a good bread. And yeah, this one's gonna be good. You don't put anything on top like the melted sugar though. So let me get some stuff to cover that with. You know, Joe's mom gave me all these cloths. I'll put this one from Tanisha. Yeah, Tanisha. I'll put yours. I don't know if you guys can see that. So let me go sit and wait about 45 minutes. You know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to light my oven now, because these are going to raise pretty quickly. Let me put the 350 plus the heat that will come up will raise them even faster. Alright guys, so I came to the bank with Joe, but I went to the bank. We're already almost back home to buy a cashier's check because Joe won a car today at the auction. Yay! He won a 2004 Hyundai Santa Fe. It's an SUV, it's blue, and from the pictures it looks gorgeous. How many of you, when Hyundai first came out, couldn't say the name? I used to say Hyundai. What does Rihanna say?
Bitch better have my money. Yeah, 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 yeah. Pay me what you owe me. Bye.
You don't even know why, but you know what Rihanna says? That whole call and said she has my check. She had them overnight it to her because what happened was they were sending it to the wrong address. How convenient. We never gonna see check number 1098, right? The one that they claim they sent on March 31st. So Daddy went to go get my money right now. Diana wants to know where you got your rad glasses from.
Swap meet.
I think it's these ones.
Hey, Jaders.
Hey, John.
Swap meet?
Yeah.
How much?
$7.
$7 at the swap meet, Diana.
Yeah, pretty rad.
Hey, Joshua.
Hey.
That's what Jory used to call you, Joshua. Alright guys, so take a look. Check number 1098. Isn't that the number that Ho said the check was that was sent out on the 31st and went awry? And you know what else I found out while looking at this check? The date on it is 3/29/17. So that means they had my check. Arcelia and Olivia had my check. I don't know what they planned on doing with it, but I think if Joe didn't go in there and lose his cool, they would have stolen my money. So they made it to Matt Grin, which is my old business that I already closed the bank account down. So what I've done is just have Joe sign his name on the back, put the personal account number instead of the Matt Grin number because that doesn't exist anymore, and we're just going to shove it through the ATM because that's what you do when you want to put through a questionable check. Just put it through the ATM because they don't scrutinize that stuff from the ATM. And all that stuff is in our name anyway. It leads to our social and everything, so it is ours. But if I take this into the bank right now and try to cash it and it's in Matt Grin name, they're going to go back. They have to write it in your personal name. Yet, why? Anyways, I wanted to talk really briefly as I can, with sugar because, you know, what you said at the page last night at the other vlog, when you said that when it comes to sowing and reaping, a lot of people give and give and give, and they don't really expect anything back. So when they get something back, they're kind of shocked. And nobody really knows about sowing and reaping because you just barely heard about it when I started talking about it. I'll be honest with you. I've known about sowing and reaping for a long, long time, but probably the same way you guys do, where your parents are admonishing you, you know, when you're doing something bad, and they're like, you're gonna reap what you sow. You know, haven't you seen that sometimes? We didn't have that kind of relationship with my mom where she would threaten me and my sister saying, I wish you would have a daughter to treat you the way you're treating me, because for the most part, we treated my mom pretty decent. You know, we didn't give my mom trouble. But I've seen other mothers do that, where they threaten their daughter and say, I wish you would have a daughter that would treat you the same way you're treating me, blah, blah, you're going to reap what you sow. And that's how that that thing is said. And so it pretty much gives you a negative connotation, right? About sowing and reaping. You always feel like you have to reap something bad. But sowing and reaping has to do with good too. It has to do with everything, because everything's a seed. Even nothing is a seed. All right? So if you sow a seed of nothing, welcome to a season of nothing and a harvest of nothing. So I always make sure I'm sowing a seed, girl. Even if it's a smile. You know, my teeth are pretty. So I like smile. And people are like, what are you smiling for though? People get freaked out when you start smiling at them. Anyways, I wanted to tell a little Bible story. This one's not going to be too funny though, but I really need to tell a little Bible study because I want to teach you guys what I believe about sowing and reaping and why I do it. So let's get quickly into when you go to evangelical churches or full gospel churches, the preachers teach a lot about sowing and reaping. And I like that they teach that, but a lot of the times it's to separate you from your money. I'll be honest with you. And they go to several key scriptures to teach you, how, what they want you to know, to like season your brain. They're preparing your brain so you can give, right? So the main one that they go to that Joe and I always kind of laugh at when we're in church is Isaac sowed in time of famine. Oh, Lord have mercy. The minute we hear that, it's like, oh, Lord, hide your checkbook, hide your wife, hide your husband, hide everything, because they're going to go deep for this money. So let me give you a little bit of background on this. It's Genesis chapter 26, verse 12. But I want to go back to verse 1, but I'm not going to read. I'm just going to summarize in the way that Barbara summarizes, okay? So Isaac was told by God to go to a different land where he was going to take care of him because there was this big famine all over. So he went where the Lord told him to go. And at first he was hiding the fact that Rebecca was his wife because she was foreign. And so the king, Abimelech, I think, was trying to get with her. And then he looked through this window and saw that Isaac was being kind of amorous towards Rebecca and realized that Rebecca was his wife, and then asked him, why didn't you tell me? And Isaac was like, I was afraid because she's so beautiful, whatever, I thought you were going to kill me. And so he's like, no, you could have gotten us in trouble with God because me or one of my men could have laid with your wife and then we would have been guilty. So then he passed the rule that nobody was supposed to touch Rebecca because Rebecca was Isaac's. So we're up to verse 12 where it says, Isaac sowed in that land and then reaped in the same year 100-fold, and the Lord blessed him. The reason that the preachers will preach this scripture is because they want to let you know, even if you broke and you poor, like Joe was saying in the car yesterday, if it's your baby's college fund, if it's your light bill, like this money right here, I'm going to pay my tithe out of this, which is $29. $29.80, call it $30. I'm going to pay my tithe out of this, but it doesn't necessarily have to go to a church because I don't believe that all your tithe have to go to a church. I might get shot down by some preacher watching or something, but I'm just telling you what I feel in my heart. Nothing hurts the heart of a giver more than finding someone unworthy of receiving. All right, when you find an ungrateful person, you don't never want to give again, not to them, not to nobody. So you always have to find good soil. No, this is how the law of gravity works. If I drop this phone, it drops. If you drop this phone, it drops. That's how gravity works. It doesn't not drop because you dropped it, or it doesn't not drop because Oprah dropped it. You know what I mean? It drops. That's how gravity works. Well, the same way with the principle of Jesus. Jesus has two parts. The man of Jesus, or the person of Jesus, and the principle of Jesus. The person of Jesus is for your salvation. So now, having set that aside, we're going to deal with the principle of Jesus. The principle of Jesus is pretty simple. Give, and it shall be given unto you. And he tells you how many ways you're going to receive. The Bible, like I said yesterday, is a book about receiving. Every day you have to receive God's mercies, his grace, give me another one, Joe, his forgiveness. God just wants to give and give and give to us. But we lock down that we don't know how to receive from him. We don't even expect it anymore. We get so beaten down with what's going on in life, like what Sam is going through right now with his sister-in-law. That stuff gets to your brain. It affects your work. It affects your money. It affects everything. That is until we let it go. So the scripture that I want to talk about is Mark chapter 4. And I think it starts at verse 3. Probably verse 1 it goes back to about when Jesus was telling the story. And this is a parable, which means it didn't really happen, but Jesus was comparing it to other stories, to other things that happened. So at verse 3, it says, listen, behold. That means listen, look y'all. Behold means look y'all. A sower went out to sow. And it happened as he sowed that some seed fell by the wayside, and the birds of the air came and devoured it. Don't we do that sometimes? You'll have a sister-in-law or a sister or brother that comes and go, I need to pay this and need to go pay my Macy's card, yada, yada. And you just give them the money to shut them up. That's the kind of seed that just goes by the wayside, you know, and the birds come and eat it up. So it doesn't bring you it doesn't bring you any kind of harvest, because you're not even doing it to sow a seed. You're just doing it to shut her up so she could go away and stop bugging you for this money, right? And you call those people dry begging, dry beggars. They're dry begging. They're telling you what bills are due so that you can come and give them some of this shut up money or hush money. And then some fell on stony ground where it did not have much earth, and immediately it sprang up because it had no depth of earth. Right? That's like weeds that come through the crack in the bricks like this right here. I'll go into my front yard and show you guys. That comes up pretty quickly. You don't have to water it. You don't have to put the seed, nothing. It just comes right up. And then what happens to it? Like the Bible says, when the sun was up, it was scorched because it had no root and it withered away. And that's what these things will do between the cracks. They don't come up and last any length of time. And that's how some of our seeds do. You put it in some ground that's not good soil, or it's falling on the stony ground. And pretty soon you get a little bitty harvest. And it's nothing much to sustain you. That's how some of the seeds work. And then, and some seed fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it yielded no crop. That's like, you know, in my front yard, I have these beautiful weeds. They're weeds, but they're gorgeous. They come up every spring. Right now, there's some other evil-looking weeds that are like choking it out from coming up. So I'm going to go, you know, pull those weeds out and give that stuff time to grow. But sometimes it'll yield no kind of crop. Like that weed doesn't give me anything to eat, so it's not yielding any kind of crop, right? It's just pretty to look at. And then some other seed fell on good ground and yielded a crop that sprang up, increased, and produced some 30-fold, some 60-fold, and some 100-fold. Now, you hear when I speak over people, when they bless me, I never speak no 30, 60, and 100. I speak 1,000-fold, okay? Because I want you to have money, all right? So right here in the front of my window, and I'll show you guys, that is such good, rich, beautiful soil. We found it there. And no matter what you put in that soil, even if it's on accident, it'll grow beautifully. And so when my dad gave Joe that bucket with that soursop seed in it, and he washed that bucket out and the seed went in the earth, and Joe didn't even know, it sprung up a beautiful tree. Joe nurtured it until he moved it to the backyard. I'll go outside and show you guys that. And I pray to God the tree lives in the backyard, because that's bad soil. And that's just like the people in your life. Some of them are going to be bad soil, and some of them are going to be good soil. And all you can do is test the soil. You give a little, you watch, you don't see a harvest come back from God, bad soil. Move on. MoveOn.com. Now, there's another thing that I want to get into, but not divert too much. Sometimes the soil is good soil, but it becomes hard. And that's like what's going on right now with my yellow hibiscus, my yellow bells. The ground right there is too hard. The tree is not receiving the nutrients. And so look at the leaves. They're ugly, right? Almost looks like the tree is dying. So what I have to do for that is go ahead and break up the ground. There's another scripture that talks about that, breaking up the fallow ground of your heart. Break it up so that you can receive. All right. Sometimes we have a stone heart. That's why we can't receive nothing from God. Now, the soil that's right next to it with my pink bells, that soil is beautiful and that tree is flourishing. But you watch, I'm going to break up this ground, water it good, and you're going to see my yellow bells are going to come back to life. So that's, you know, everything has to do with soil. Honestly, it has to. And if you can think about the soil that's around you where you grow things, you're going to understand about sowing and reaping. So every time you sow a seed, you do something good in life, you say, God, thank you for giving me the strength and the ability to sow this seed. I'll look over it and nurture it and ask you to bring back a harvest, and you name the harvest. So we're riding in a new car, Hyundai Santa Fe. Nice little 4-cylinder SUV, right, Joe? Mm-hmm. So far, so good. Sergio checked it out. Everything's working fine. And we're going to see about smogging it, what, tomorrow? Sometime. It's always exciting when Joe goes to the auction and he wins a car. And you guys know what I mean when I say win a car, right? He didn't win it for free. His bid was the winning bid at the auction, because sometimes your bid doesn't win and somebody else gets the car. So whenever he wins a bid for the car, he says he gets this adrenaline rush, because it's like, okay, I won. Okay, God, I hope there's nothing wrong with it. I hope the transmission works. I hope the engine works. Because you do get to start it up and stuff, but sometimes you only get to move it back and back in front. This one, he got to drive a little bit distance in the parking lot because he went yesterday, and it was running good, but he couldn't check it with the computer because he didn't know where the port was.
If you go the day before, you stand a better chance to check in the car. You can run a little.
You could run it more? Okay. So he went back today because, like I said earlier, we Googled it. And he found the port, tested it. There was no codes, so you figure you're okay when there's no codes. And he brought it home, and so far, you know, the doctor, Sergio, the doctor says it's fine. I'm hungry. Did you eat? I ate a little bit of pasta and it burned through me. I'm hungry. Oh, the papaya enzymes are working. When I first started taking it the very first day and part of the second day, I got the worst heartburn from it. And I know everybody says you shouldn't get heartburn from it. It should take away heartburn, but I wasn't having heartburn. I was just having bloating. I got the worst heartburn, but I did not give up. I persisted, and I figured if it's something that's good for me, I better persist. And so now I feel good. I don't have the bloating, I don't have no heartburn, and it's working. So I'm gonna stick with that, okay? This window's open because Joe needs to go put some Freon in this thing. And then this, I already put it up for sale at the site. I don't play. 5-0 is out thick today, guys. Then Joe wants to know why the fuzz is out like this today. I'm like, it's 420. Joe didn't even know what 420 meant.
I don't know.
All day long, me and the kids have been saying happy 420, happy 420. He didn't know what it meant. All these weed heads are smoking up that ganja today. You know, that's why the cops are out in force today. They want to catch all these weed heads. We're going over to Osley, guys. Your pregnant Zumba instructor is crazy.
Yeah.
She's the one you said had a car accident? How pregnant is she?
Like, ready to pop pregnant, pretty much.
And she's teaching Zumba.
Yeah, and she doesn't stop. That baby's probably, like,
brain damage.
getting it.
The baby's brain damage.
Maybe. Alright.
I asked him if he wants me to switch it back because we were trying to stop him from his little compulsions.
Look at him. Look at him. He's doing it. Stop working out in the chair. That's why it's broken. That's why it's broken.
I can't put my foot in it.
You don't exercise in a recliner. It's a recliner.
You recline.
It's a recline. That's what I'm doing. See, recline. See, look.
That's not recline.
I see, recline.
This is why the recliner is broken.
Joe, what was up with your buddy today, Osley? We went to see Osley today, guys.
What,
He was talking, but still not all the way coherent, right?
Still not talking that more sense.
Well, he recognized Ermine finally. He recognized you as usual. He recognized me right away. Right? But every time Paul got up and said he was going to leave to go do something, he was trying to like, wait for me. I want to come. I want to come. And he kept showing us his butt. He kept taking the blanket off and showing us his diaper.
Oh, yeah.
And Ermine was like, don't show me your butt, your bony butt. And he would laugh so wicked.
I'm so good.
When the red button is on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, guys, see, I'm doing it. Ready. He doesn't want to go back on the boat. Splash.
With splash?
Yeah.